Radio Hereford FC, the only station with full match commentaries of the Bulls. Every game, every week.
Hello and welcome to Going Down the Pub with me, Frank Williams, and the ground guide guru yet again. Come a long way tonight for this
to
do
trip.
the guide to Hitchin town.
Yay, good evening, Frank, how are we doing?
Well, not too bad. Thank you very much for the shout out on Facebook that we were doing this recording tonight.
Oh yes.
I know you're getting into your Greek and Latin phraseology, which I still have not translated yet. I think.
Oh yes.
I'm supposed to have been by your description sort of poetically lyrical and enthusiastic. What was the word?
Dithyrambic. It's literally.
It sounds very rude.
It's not really. It's worshipper of the god Bacchus.
Right. Okay.
Basically, somebody who enjoys a good time. That's all it means. But there you go.
I certainly do. And it's always a pleasure to be with you here in the Eddy. We do have Wye Valley
in hand.
Yeah,
exactly.
Even if the lad behind the bar is a Wolverhampton.
It's not him, thankfully.
Oh, I was going to say it's a Wolves.
Yeah, it's dingle-free zone, thankfully. No, he's not on tonight. What a relief.
Yes, as the championship will be next year, a dingle-free zone, but it will be not a baggy-free zone, I fear.
Oh, well,
but anyway,
who cares?
Actually, you do. But anyway,
I don't.
You don't.
Not
you
that
don't
much.
mind going down. As long as the dingles come up, you don't mind going down. As long as you don't have to play
them ever again.
No. Right. Okay. Hitchin town.
Hitchin town. Okay. Yeah, I mean, 3 times a Hereford team has played at top field in Hitchin, and 3 times they've lost. Lost in the trophy, lost in the FA Cup, that was painful, and we even lost a very one-sided friendly during the year of the Crim.
The year of the Crim, I loved that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes,
I do work at this.
It was, wasn't it? Was it immediately after the club were wound up?
It's very soon, wasn't it? It was meant to be Hitchin's last league game of the season. And all we had was a supporters team which we sent along, and somewhat cruelly they put the full first team out and won 12-0. And it's about time we won one there.
Absolutely.
It's an itch we need to scratch. So there you go. I worked on that for hours. There you go.
Yeah,
good headline that would.
Yeah. Okay. And it didn't work actually. Yes.
Oh dear. Okay. Well, Hitchin lurks on the other side of Luton.
Yes, it does. Now, it's quite a similar journey to the Dunstable one in a lot of respects.
It's a rather nice market town, 35,000 people. Probably more charming than Coleshill. It's sort of like one main street, really. Well, not quite having the chocolate box look as, say, Hartley Whitney.
Well, Hartley Whitney was hardly 35,000 people.
No, it wasn't.
3,500 perhaps, yeah.
And the ground is quite close to the town centre, thank heavens. And town do have a reputation of being a very friendly bunch, so this could be quite an interesting trip.
I hope they're friendly. They can't. I tell you what, anybody that's as friendly as Dunstable were are in my books. I tell you, what a cracking day out. What lovely people. Yeah.
Good on them.
Okay, they've been there a long time.
Yeah, I mean, the football in the town dates back to 1865. And a Hitchin club, obviously not the current one, a Hitchin club competed in the first ever FA Cup.
Right.
So there's a lot of history there. In recent years, I'm going to throw in this phrase, living the dream, the club are hitting new heights in their history. Last year, they were 1 minute from promotion to Step 2. I mean, the poor sods. They were in the playoff final, 1-0 up at Leamington, a minute to go, and Leamington somehow got an equaliser in that last minute, and then won it in extra time, and that's a sickener, you know. And as a consequence, Hitchin lost 5 of their best players, and they just haven't threatened the top 5 all season. Kings Lynn fairly recently beat them 4-0 at Topfield, and that led to a sort of very honest interview with the Hitchin manager, who looked absolutely dumbstruck and didn't know what the hell to do next by the look of it. But
well, fair enough. Now, you say this, actually, they just lost to Leamington. Leamington went off in the playoff into Step 2. It shows what the gap it is, because Leamington were a very decent side last season, and presumably they strengthened, but they are struggling.
They are struggling badly.
They're probably going to slip back down first time of asking. So
It's certainly possible, yeah.
when you look at the leaps that we've made over the last 3 years, there has been a leap. But this one from Southern Premier to National North or National South is probably a biggest leap again. Yeah.
Yeah, going back to Hitchin's form, they're not having a good time. They've only picked up 4 points from the last 5 home games, and 3 of those points came against Gosport, who lose to everybody. Gosport's their only league win this year.
Okay. Excellent. I'm sorry if I feel a bit distant here. It's because I've obviously got a different script to you.
Oh, okay.
No, that's all right. But you've got far more information than yours.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
There you go. Hitchin work hard as a club to attract support, and they averaged 465 people last season, which is 7th highest for what is a small place, basically, with Luton up the road. But, they do rely on their rather good academy to keep producing young players. Now, Hitchin's manager, Mark Burke, is actually the full-time manager of the Hitchin community setup.
Right.
And they share academy facilities with Luton Town FC. And, of course, get the pick of the young Luton players on loan.
Yes, yeah.
And to look at, the ground, the top field, is slightly upmarket Royston, if we can think back to September.
Well,
It's
Royston is very down market. So if it's only slightly up market
from that,
it could still be on the downside. It's on the downside of up market or the upside of down market.
Working that one out, okay. There's 4 rows of seats, very low down, on the halfway line.
Right, okay, so that sounds to me then that is exactly the same as Dunstable. Same sort of standards as Dunstable, 4 rows of seats, straddling the halfway line, going 15 metres on either side, and that's it.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, maybe slightly more positively, opposite are 2 short covered terraces.
Right.
And curiously, they've got wooden standing areas to the side, wooden terraces. And beyond the goals, it's open terracing.
Right.
Although there's a tiny bush shelter behind one goal. I know you like your bush shelters.
Well, yes, but it can't be as small as that one at Dunstable.
No.
The one I saw there, it must have held 6 people.
Wow. They nicked it from a local bus
Well, we
stop.
didn't notice it till halfway through the second half. I suddenly noticed there was a structure behind the goal. I realised it was actually a stand, but it was totally obliterated by the goal from where we were sitting, and therefore it shows how small it was. It was about half the size of the goal, and I think there were 4 people standing in it,
right,
which was unnecessary because it was a glorious day.
Right.
But,
there must be a local bus stop missing their shelter.
Here's a little bit of warning here.
Oh gosh, warning. Yep.
Well, there isn't an awful lot of cover at Hitchin, and there aren't a great many seats, and yet they get 465 on through the gate there regularly. So if you want to seed,
you got to be there at 2 o'clock. Like
I think so.
Happened last season.
Yeah.
If you want to have a look for yourself, go on the Hitchin Town FC TV. Videos. They cover all the home games.
Right.
Not quite with the finesse that our guys do it, must be said, but hey, good on them for doing it. Hitchin charge, shall we say, small club standard admission prices. £10 adults, concession £6, and children under 16 are free. In terms of refreshments, there's the Canary Club bar.
Are they called the Canaries?
They are, surprisingly.
Do they play in yellow?
Yeah, they do, yes.
Tivy again, eh?
Yeah, it's not quite as rough as Tivy, hopefully.
Well, no, but Tivy, they play in yellow, but the ground is yellow as well, isn't it? Everything. Everything about it is yellow.
Even the pitch.
Even the pitch, Well,
at the moment,
ground, isn't it, really? Yeah, all the stands are, it's really... Yeah. On a nice day, yeah, be all right. But anyway, the Canary Club.
Yeah, it's likely to be one of the bigger ones because it's open 7 days of the week. It's actually separate from the ground. It's like a couple of 100 yards up the road.
Right.
They've got a bar and a separate function room, so they should be able to cope with us. They serve Adnam's Ghost Ship, which I'm not familiar with, but it sounds interesting, and that stuff from Sharps, which are sort of moving on rapidly.
I will mention it.
Oh, gosh. If you must, okay. The Canary Club is okay for disabled access.
Sorry, I just misread this. I got to say, what I read was, and that stuff from Sharps disabled is how it reads here. Then it is that stuff from Sharps.
Yeah.
Disabled access is not a problem.
Yeah, it's probably better
right.
your way, actually. Yeah.
Right.
Now, the only club car park is right in front of the bar. It's not a terribly large car park, holds about 100. There is street parking around, lots of it. Hot off the press, an email I had just come in from the fixture secretary, Chris Newbold, says we're trying to see if we can secure additional parking across the road, but to be honest, it's not very likely, so it's likely to be... Okay. Right. If you want to go further afield...
Now before you talk about going further afield,
yes.
Can I just bring you back to when you did the ground guide on Dunstable, you mentioned the Globe.
Oh, yes.
With all its ales and so on.
Yes.
Well, after the match, we went into Dunstable Bar and we were sitting there, Jeremy and I packed all the stuff up, we were all ready to go, the radio stuff and so on, and a bloke came over to us and said, thank you for your ground guide telling us about the Globe, it was brilliant.
Oh, good news.
Unfortunately,
no.
Dunstable had heard our guide as well, and warned the Globe, and so the Globe put 4 extra bar staff on.
Oh no.
And these two lads, I hope they weren't the only ones who heard our guide, but they thought, perhaps all the coaches will stop there.
Oh.
They didn't. These 2 lads from Hereford were the only 2 that went in. But they said they did sample most of the 14 reloads that were on offer.
Tried to make up for it.
And they were hoping that maybe after the match the coaches would have stopped there. But it was, at least somebody listens.
Yeah, well,
and
it's
they said, what a great pub.
Oh, I wish I'd been there. But
so now we're going to give you the info on the Hitchin one. So if you want to find a good drink, trust what Simon's about to say.
And
apart from any references to Doombar.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. I mean, generally, if I recommend a pub, generally nobody goes. But
yes, exactly.
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a couple of pubs to mention. The Highlander in Upper Tilehouse Lane. It's a family-owned pub selling homemade food. I think it's French. It's got a French chef, which is a bit unusual, but it does come highly recommended for the food as well as the Green King IPA and its guest beer. Same street, if you want to change, as the Cooper's Arms, traditional old local, selling McMullins, which are...
McMullins? Very good.
I like McMullins, yeah.
Nice beer.
It's about 12 minutes walk from the ground.
Both of those pubs are about 12 minutes from the ground.
Exactly.
So if you pull your car up and you've got plenty of time and you're not worried about getting a seat, there aren't many of them, then you find either of those 2 pubs, which are the Highlander and the Cooper's Arms. They're both only 12 minutes walk from the ground, so if you're getting there early and you've got time, both of those, believe us, are worth a visit. And if anybody from those pubs is listening to this or finds out about it and put on extra bar staff, be it upon your own head.
True. I mean, we have to mention this, the local Spoons, the Weatherspoons, is the Angel Vaults in Sun Street. 3 standard real ales plus 6 guests. So, and curiously, this is on the premises of the former Hitchin Conservative Clubs, but don't let that put you off.
Well, it put me off straight away. Well, actually, that is also about the same distance away. Yeah, you put on 13 minutes away.
Yeah, 0.7 miles, so if you're a fast walker, you can do it quicker than that.
Right, okay. That's very precise, by the way.
Yes, it's wonderful, isn't it?
It probably means that the other 2 pubs are only 0.6 miles
Well, that's right.
away.
Yeah, 13 minutes down Bedford Road.
Okay.
There's lots and lots of local choice if you want some food. TripAdvisor lists 142 places to eat, which is pretty impressive for a small place.
Yeah.
I'm going to be heading either for Fabio's Gelato,
right,
or
into ice cream.
Or probably the boss will say it's too cold, so he may be at La Reyes Tapas Bar instead.
Okay.
I'm seriously into that now.
Good. You probably, by saying that, you've guaranteed that the places will be empty.
Exactly,
and you'll get what you want. Now, getting there.
Yeah, it's 140 miles. Far less for you and I, because I think it's about 110 for us. So that's a bonus. By train, well, it's the usual. Don't bother. You basically have to go into London and come out again, which is 4.5 hours or 5 hours one
London
way.
Bulls and any Southern Exiles will be
grinning again manically. Hitchin is on the King's Cross main line, 30 minutes from London, and the ground's about a mile walk. So
it's not bad, is it? Yeah.
Be grateful.
And of course, Reg.
Yes.
His details are up, and I've been up for some time.
Yeah, I've got the details. I looked them up.
Yeah.
He's dropped the fare down to £20.
Yeah.
It's a 9 o'clock start. He reckons 3.5 hours on the coach.
Yeah, well, that's because they do have an hour stop.
Yeah, and there is still room. I think it's 10 or 12 seats at the moment.
140 miles. That is 2.5 hours. 3.5 hours. He will be having a stop.
Yeah.
And he probably won't be at either of the 2 pubs we mentioned.
Oh no, certainly not.
Perhaps you go to it's not far away. Perhaps you can pop into the Globe at Dunstable Blackmore instead.
Yeah, make
and
up
have
for
a
it,
really
yeah.
make up
Yeah.
for the fact they didn't go there last time. That's excellent stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. That's our
Have a
guide.
good one.
That's our guide to Hitchin.
Yeah, it should be fun.
Yes, and we look forward to seeing you all there, hopefully. And if we don't, you'll listen to us on Radio Hereford FC or however you catch up with the games. And we'll catch up with you again very, very soon.
This is Radio Hereford FC, the home of the Bulls. Match Day Live.